Oh, actually, before that, I forgot to look at this.
Recently, I did a video about Earth 2. In my eyes, it's either A, a delusional group of pathetically idealistic idiots who think that they can redefine the entire virtual entertainment sector with a small team, limited resources, and the largest undertaking, possibly, in the history of technology, or B, a pyramid scheme and a scam that will never deliver and was never intended to. Take your pick, it's still a bad one.
I think it's the first one.
Well, that video caused a lot of anger and a...
Planet IX is
I'm sold. Fuck it, looks cool.
Copy of the planet where players can buy, collect, and trade picks, which is how we call the lots of land.
It's the same game.
Packages, and then go into the marketplace, and then they can sell, exchange, buy directly from
Holy
the
fuck. Holy shit, it is exactly the same scam.
And we're gonna plant like tons and tons of trees. And those guys do not only plant trees, but they have like really beautiful social work happening.
Who are they?
The success of the game, the more players we
They also have 50 rocket ships.
The more trees we're gonna plant, and we're gonna keep doing this beautiful.
We're gonna plant trees. We're gonna make laser eyes.
Gameplay, NFTs, cryptocurrencies.
This is the most
etc.
unapologetic scam I've ever seen.
Just work. Soon we'll have tutorials online and showing like how easy this entire NFT world will be.
This is actually shocking.
That's a colossal amount, actually, because in just a minute 30 flat, this project manages to combine social and environmental activism, NFTs, crypto,
it did a lot.
World building,
it
gaming,
did do a lot.
Loot boxes, and honestly a whole bunch more. But
I think some people just need to get scammed.
Advertised framework, they will launch in 3 separate.
Like if you put money into this
digital world will
like
apparently
you
change
really
the actual
deserve
world.
it.
And since I've now been accused many times, it's easy to establish what Planet IX is once we establish what Crowd 1 is. And to do that, we need to look at their history and their business model.
Jesus, how deep does it go?
Self-advertises as some sort. Crowd 1 is a pyramid scheme, more commonly known today by those with an utter lack of intellectual competence as a multi-level marketing opportunity. Crowd 1
Nobody calls it that though. They just call it a pyramid scheme.
Greed
I never hear that tossed around anymore.
The business model revolves around education. It's pretty much the standard practice for those who rely on colloquial turns of phrase as some sort of life-changing charade. And it is, of course.
So what do you buy?
Well. Crowd 1 skirts.
I'm just gonna look it up myself. I don't get it. What the fuck do you buy with Crowd 1? You buy quotes? Oh my god. I'm gonna bring up this website. Let me show you. If any of you, you're taking business courses in university, maybe you graduated with the degree and you're too smart to be scammed, just in case. If you ever see a fucking site that has to say, we are not an investment scheme, you're fucked. If you disregard something like this and still go in, you deserve whatever happens next. You absolutely deserve it. Within the very first paragraph of this website, it immediately gives you the biggest possible red flag. Literally, we aren't a scam. Trust us. But yeah, this looks like an absolute dog shit idea. And I still don't even get what it does. Like, I don't know what you're... Like, what is this shit, though? Like, you're buying nothing. You're buying Migster, who I'm guessing is like a cereal box mascot or something. I don't really get it. Like, I don't know how someone falls for this. Oh, here he is. A mobile gaming tournament platform, Migster. So you're paying for 12 months to a furry fan site? Like, what is it?
Migster is a social gaming platform for you and your friends to play and take part in tournaments through online streaming.
They did not. They did not. This is the old Scooby-Doo Cartoon Network game from their website back in the early 2000s. Holy shit. This just sent me on like a nostalgia boner, like fucking That's So Raven episode. I used to play all of those Cartoon Network games. All of them. The Dexter's Lab ones where you're making like a maze for chickens to die in. The Scooby-Doo one, Samurai Jack had a good one, Teen Titans, oh my god. Why is this being advertised in a 2021 product? Stream your favorite games! If you're trapped in a time vortex in 2002. Oh, Migster's calling, you better answer. What's that playful little guy want? Uh-oh. Christ, so when a tournament starts, your whole life is ruined. The Avengers called, we need you, ASAP! Stop what you're doing. You have to play the Scooby-Doo Flash game right now. So much effort went into this trailer. My god, for one of the worst ideas I've ever seen. I feel like I'm getting a whole movie's experience worth right now. Wow. Fuck. Alright, sign me up. That trailer was real cool. And let's see how Migster's doing now. So you pay for this payment plan for Migster access. But how is he doing? Do they have reviews of Migster on YouTube? Is there any Migster tubers?
Matter natin, press nyo lang po yung... So,
do you play any games?
Automatic meron
Here we
pa
go.
yung 1,000 credits. So para saan po ba yung 1,000 credits na yun? So para ano po ba yan at nakikita na ang sobrang
when does the gaming start? Alright, that didn't really answer any of my questions. Alright. So I didn't learn anything. But I am interested. What else do you pay for? With Mindo, you grow both personally and professionally. Explore courses like rhetorics and how to build your audience and become an entrepreneur. Travel benefits. With Life Trends, you get great discounts at hotels, travel, and cruises. I don't understand. With what? Hey, excuse me, I'd like to stay at this hotel. I have 15 Life Trends coins from Crowd1. What do you mean, get out? Man, this is crazy. So this is it? This is all of Crowd1? You just pay for subscriptions to these awful services? What is so me? I'm so confused. Like, I don't even get the differences in the packages, man. Like, this is blowing my fucking mind that anyone puts money into this. So at $300, you get access to all of their garbage. And for $800, you get access to all of their garbage at the exact same lengths with a little extra Life Trend money coins. But then you get something called lifetime membership to Link Me, which doesn't seem to be like a service anywhere on here. Oh, here it is. Never lose a link again. So you get access to a notepad to save your links. And then for $3,000 you get So Me as well. I don't understand. The world is a social one, but it's hard to keep track of all of the different platforms. So what? You get a platform that tells you Twitter, Reddit, Facebook, and then you just click on those. So you get the access to bookmarks. I don't like, what does this mean? This is baffling, man. People are so dumb. Like, god damn.
But Emerge Gaming has, quote, no idea what the motivations of its 150,000 subscriber user base really are, which is a direct result of their partnership with Crowd1 because its platform is used as an affiliate marketing scam to lure in vulnerable people and is quite literally damaging to their image as a publicly traded company.
True, I definitely thought less of them. 150,000 subscribers to it.
Scam. Emerge Gaming is also accused of not conducting their due diligence when they accepted over $8 million from Crowd1. And the list will go on and on.
Well, that's a good chunk of change. If you're going to fuck your product, you might as well do it for $8 million. I'm going to create a service. Doesn't exist. I'm just going to make a cute mascot, and I'm just going to like stealth launch a service, like a website somewhere, and just say, you know, like a subscription model, dumb tiers. And I'm just going to see how many people just give money to something that just doesn't promise anything and just doesn't exist. I'm going to fill the description, like make a real website, filled with just buzzwords on buzzwords, but never actually say that there's going to be anything there, so I don't have to worry about fraud. It's literally just going to be a thing that people can put money into, and I'll just see how many people do it. Like, I cannot believe. Like, this one, Earth 2, okay, FOMO, right? People don't want to miss out, and Earth 2 promises, like, hey, if you buy this fucking tile on a grid, it might be worth something. You know, but this promises nothing. Absolutely nothing. And I'm on their Twitter right now. They say they have 1 million Migster subscribers, and I promise you that's a lie. And then there's one guy commented on this saying this is amazing and unbelievable. He misspelled unbelievable. Crazy. I don't doubt 150,000 subscribers though. I actually don't doubt it.
To go rapid
Just making
fire
me
because the
upset.
explanation would derail into an hour or more at least of links and affiliations.
It's believable because it's not a scam. I can't tell if that's sarcastic or not. Please, I need to hear. For the love of God, tell me you're making a sarcastic comment, Baskin. I'll wait. We need to sit you down and, like, take away your access to spending money. Everyone in chat is on Migster. You're behind. Fuck! I'm gonna have to start streaming on Migster. Fuck! Yeah, what was I thinking?
There are individual statements about the exact moment that Crowd1 devalued their promotional currency and robbed nearly everyone who was affiliated with them of what they had been working for by aggressively
Holy
lobbying
shit.
their friends and family to join this scam, such as Tor Anders Petero, who is known in his home country as the Pyramid King, and how once that information was discovered by BBC Africa, it got cleansed.
Yeah, but this time it's different.
From the internet.
This time he went
That man has
legit.
openly stated numerous times
This
that
is
he
real
works
now.
for and accepts leads on.
He's targeting
anyone trying to
gamers.
Start
No one
a
betrays
multi-level
us.
marketing scheme. Planet IX hasn't actually launched yet. It hasn't sucked tens of millions of dollars out of the pockets. Of
but it
people
will.
Sold on a dream that doesn't exist.
It
to enrich
fucking
a few
will.
Criminals at the top of the pyramid. Actually, maybe it has. It is, after all, marketing to a user base in the tens of millions under the global network that is Crowd1. But it's still in a phase where some people might be susceptible, and it's beginning to ramp.
Oh no, Selfa. It's a wonderful thing being a member. No, oh, come on now.
An ultimate ending that isn't a total investor wipeout based on the methodology and business
I gotta
practices
hand it
of
to the
its
team
parent
though.
company,
They've been
Crowd1.
pyramid
But when
scheming for
reality calls,
years.
it will be harsh.
And they keep
I wouldn't
doing
be
it
surprised
successfully.
At all if they take this particular video down or DMCA something or
One of the
send a
guys is
slap
literally
suit,
called the king
I
of
don't really
pyramid
care
schemes,
because
and he
it
still
needs to be
makes
said.
another one.
I
Just
see
fine.
it everywhere. Humanize it that if this entire thing falls apart, it's going to impact a lot of innocent people, not just the scammers who are stealing most of the money at the top. So it's a really complex problem.
That was good. I actually cannot believe this shit. Like, oh my god. I just don't understand. I don't get the perspective. Like, how does someone go to that website that I just showed you and read anything on there and be like, yep, probably safe? And if you do even a second of research and find out that the entire team behind it is known pyramid scam artists, like, I just don't know. Like, I just can't wrap my head around that thought process. Like we learned a couple weeks ago, most of the people who get scammed are, like, well-off, wealthier people. And I don't know how the fuck that happens. Maybe they don't read it. Then why put any money into it? Because, like, unlike a crypto where you could just, like, fucking go wild and put something into dog shit and get rug pulled or whatever, this is you're putting money into something that claims it's a streaming service or, like, an education platform. So wouldn't you at least want to see that? It's fucking crazy. I played a lot of RuneScape as a kid, so I'm very well versed in scams, and it really shattered my trust in people and taught me early on that you can't always put your faith in strangers to tell the truth. Maybe they won't actually double your money. And I think that this led to me being better at identifying scams in real life, but it doesn't make me immune to them either. When I was a freshman in college, I fell for the oldest trick in the book, a timeless classic prank: fake being homeless with a sign and beg for money on the streets. A scam that has stood the test of time. It's people that just panhandle on the street pretending to be homeless and try and get money that way. It's actually very lucrative. Sometimes people that do this make anywhere from 60 to 100 grand a year off of this shit. It's fucking despicable. The reason I'm bringing this up is because on Reddit this week, a video went viral, and it's from 2017. It's an older video, but it's a video of a woman in Richmond who pretended to be homeless and was exposed for it. She even eventually got arrested, but I'll get to that towards the end of the video. But I wanted to go over this video because I think it's not only a very entertaining video with the way she responds to being confronted, but also a bit eye-opening as to the depths people will sink to get a quick buck. This scam in particular has always greased my ass. It infuriates me. People that just take advantage of others' willingness to help, their good nature, it's just so fucked up. But I'll quickly tell my story since I was a victim of this scam when I was younger. I don't know if I've ever told it, I'm sure I have at some point, but when I was a freshman in college for the first semester, I used to commute to university, and I always took the same route, just like a little NPC that never deviates from the schedule. I would always go down one road in particular that had a guy standing at the corner of one of its major intersections. This guy, he looked disheveled, he had a curly white beard, it looked like fucking jolly old Saint Nick, Santa Claus had fallen on rough times, and I'd always see him talking to people, and he was always smiling, he just seemed like a really nice guy, and he had a sign that had every fucking sad tale you could imagine. I'm a homeless veteran, my dog ran away, my wife divorced me and took the kids, I broke my leg in a bowling accident, and I have lung trouble from the time I spent as a coal miner. Any money you can spare is very much appreciated. God bless. It sounded like a fucking country song, and it was heartbreaking to read. So every day, Monday through Friday, I'd give him $20, sometimes $40 if I had a little extra, and I did that for about a month, or a month and a half maybe. But then I got hit with a shocking plot twist straight out of a Darman video. I swear to God, it would have been less painful to find out I was adopted. One time when I gave him money, the last day I gave him money, I really wish I could remember what he said verbatim, but he hit me with something to the effect of, really appreciate all that you've given me, my apartment over in this area isn't super cheap, so I appreciate it because rent's been going up. I wish I could remember exactly what he said though, but those were the cliff notes. That was the main bit of lore that he dropped there. That he had an apartment in that area, it was expensive, and it looked like it was going up, so me giving him that money for the last month and a half was a little helpful. And that's when the realization hit. My universe melted around me, and it sunk in, the reality. This guy had used me like a fucking fleshlight. This guy wasn't homeless at all. He was a fraud, a faker, a goddamn drama club thespian leader here with his acting performance on the side of the street for the last month and a half. That area he would stand in was an extremely expensive area of Tampa. So to have an apartment in that area, he was already making a lot of money. And I was just another piggy bank for him to dip his little cock into. I was furious. But I couldn't confront him about it, obviously, so instead I just said, yeah, no worries, drove off, and then started taking a different route to university. One that was an extra 15 minutes out of the way, but just one where I knew I'd never have to see him again. I was beyond mad. I went so far above mad, I just wrapped around all the way to sad and upset. Like, I used to take extra money out of the bank just to make sure I had enough cash in my wallet to give him $20 Monday through Friday. This dude became like a daily part of like my routine, like to make sure that I was able to, help him out a little bit. I just wanted to see him succeed, do something good for someone that fell on hard times, only to find out it was all a lie. I don't know if he meant to do that, like maybe he felt guilty from all the money I'd given him, so he decided to drop that little nugget of wisdom, letting me know that he wasn't actually homeless, or what that was about. Maybe he slipped up, I couldn't tell you, but man, did it teach me a very hard lesson. I know that was a long story, and I still haven't even played the video of the fake homeless woman here, but I just needed to let you all know that this shit makes me fucking mad. There's no audio in the beginning of the video here, probably because it's just them puking from disgust at what this woman's doing. So it's just showing that she's going car to car, asking for money, and can even be very aggressive with the way she panhandles, apparently. And then they eventually follow her all the way to her car, which is parked nearby.
Can I help you with something?
No, you're alright.
What are you doing?
Just wondering why you have a 2014 when you're begging for change all over the city of Richmond. You're
Why
on.
don't you leave me alone?
You're
before I call the cops?
you're viral. You're on Facebook. You're the talk of the town this morning. What would you like to say to everybody in Richmond?
You know what? That's it.
How much did you make today?
So this woman was a known scammer. She's not actually homeless. She has a very modern car. This video is from 2017, so her 2014 vehicle here is a very modern, pretty expensive car. So obviously, she's not actually on hard times. She shouldn't be begging for money. I shouldn't need to explain that to anyone. I don't think there's anyone out there that'd be like, well, Charlie, it's a legitimate profession, taking advantage of people's willingness to help someone in need. This is her job. This is her 9-to-5 work, begging for money under the false notion that she's homeless and needs it, when clearly she doesn't. So, just a whole lot of bullshit, just a slimy, pathetic worm here. And this is 2014, so I'm assuming by now she's moved on to doing OnlyFans, probably to moderate to no success there would be my guess, or she might be back on the streets scamming. There's no telling for sure, but she gets confronted here by these two men that are filming, and then her immediate response is to once again just try and play the victim, so she walks over to the local McDonald's to try and get them involved.
How much is in that bag?
I'm calling the cops on you right
Good.
now. You better get me off your cell phone.
Everyone, be warned. How much you make today?
I always love this immediate response. I'm calling the cops. Yeah, you've caught me on film scamming and doing something illegal. You can't panhandle like this. It's a crime. But I'm gonna call the cops on you because you're making me uncomfortable with your video exposing me. In fact, you're hurting my feelings. The delusion is just always so fascinating to me. Like, what could she possibly think would have happened if the cops showed up? They were gonna take her side? Well, I mean, gentlemen, you are filming her in public. You're going to jail. It's a capital offense. Ma'am, please go back out there and keep scamming. Like, she had to have, at least for a brief second, had some neurons fire to tell her that it's a bad idea. Like, I'm breaking the law? Why would I call the cops on myself? It's a big fucking self-report. You know, maybe I should just get in my car and leave. But for some reason, that line of thinking doesn't compute with her. So instead, she tries to, like, get the police involved and McDonald's involved.
Huh? You have the complete right to say.
How do you feel about this?
These people will leave me alone. Can you tell me why are they taking pictures of me in my car?
We have a right. This is a free country. We're not doing anything. Did you know that she parks in your parking lot every day? And
God, I love the response from the employee here. Like, I don't know. What are you talking? I don't know why they're filming you. Who are you? Fucking crazy lady, a lunatic? You escaped from Arkham Asylum? Why are you asking me? Christ, I don't know what's going on here. Why are you making me open this window here and then bombard me with like an interrogation? I don't know what the fuck is happening. You know, like, I don't know what the scammer could have possibly expected here. Knock on the window, Ronald McDonald answers and like comes outside to save the day. Like, hey, stop filming her right now, gentlemen. In my establishment, not at Mickey D's.
never spent $1 here and begs for change on
That's her car right there,
every day. Next time you see that car,
she's free to leave. Is all. We can't stop her from getting in the car and driving away.
They can't stop you and driving away.
thank you. We got everything we need.
That's illegal to do
Come
that.
here.
Or anything like that.
We can't stop her from getting in her car and driving away
Well,
either.
can you tell me why they're doing this?
Because it's wrong.
I don't.
She has nothing to do with you.
I don't. I just
What?
work here. I don't know why.
You
they're
should
fine.
know
I don't
why it's
them,
wrong.
I don't know you, so.
That's exactly right. Ma'am, I don't know what's going on. I just work here. Like, she's just doing her job. She's not going to take your side. She doesn't know what the situation is. I don't know why you think she would all of a sudden try and, like, defend you or your honor or whatever. I don't know why you're asking her these questions anyway, like you're trying to report something to the principal of a middle school. It's just ridiculous. I feel so bad for the employee in this situation. That's got to be so uncomfortable. Just doing your job and then all of a sudden you get caught off guard by a completely unhinged, deranged goober.
So why are y'all doing this?
Because it's wrong.
You're taking people's money. You have look at your car. What year is that?
It's wrong.
What year is that vehicle?
What is he talking about?
How much? Where do you live?
I'm going to try and be a little armchair psychologist for a moment. Her continuously asking the employee, like, what is this guy saying? It must be her defense mechanism, like her cope of like, oh, no, I'm not doing anything wrong. Do you hear this? Do you hear these crazy people? Do you hear what they're saying? Me taking money from people? Like, what is that, huh? Do you know what they're saying? She just strikes me as someone that takes no responsibility for her own actions and views herself like an angel, a saint that never does anything wrong. She's perfect and morally beautiful. Nothing she's done is indefensible or bad. So when she's challenged on this belief of herself, she just completely crumbles and tries to like get other people in there like, no, tell me I'm good, tell me I'm right.
You're begging for money.
What do you want?
You're begging
Who are
money.
you?
Why you do?
Because
Stop stealing people's money. Stop begging for money. You own a car. You're not homeless. Some people are really homeless. Some people are really homeless and need
so
help.
Do you think that people have to stand out here because they're homeless?
Why do you stand out here?
Because I have a
What does your sign
disability.
say?
What are you disabled from? What's your nature of disability?
your sign
What is
say?
nature disability? What
That's
is it?
none of your business.
A bold strategy, but unfortunately a swing and a miss. Her sign says she's homeless. So her whole thing of, no, I'm here because of a disability is immediately contradicted by her own fucking sign. Also, I will say, she has great fashion sense. She's wearing a shirt that says, I train while you sleep. So checkmate, nerds. While we're all snoozing and catching our embarrassing wet dreams, she's out there on that grind, the Sigma grind, scamming. What a hero.
Excuse me.
We're not stopping you from getting in your car and leaving. Go ahead and get in your car and leave.
Can you tell me
What does he have to do with you?
If anything, sir, she parks in your
I
parking
can't
lot
even get
all
my
day.
vehicle.
She parks in your parking lot. That's her car.
She's like a random encounter in an MMO right now. She just keeps going up to anybody around the area like, excuse me, these people are saying that I'm not a good person. Can you believe that? Isn't that ridiculous? And then she even tries to say that she can't get in her car and leave, that they're blocking her. But they're not. She can get in her car and leave at any point, and at the end of the video she does. Spoiler alert. They weren't blocking her at all. They were just following her around, insulting her, and rightfully calling her out on this bullshit.
You're begging for money. Look at your car.
What do you want from me, you stupid? What do you want from me? Someone's gonna end up killing you.
How? For what? What am I doing?
Harassing me.
I'm not harassing anybody. You're stealing people's money.
That's why. You're harassing me. Hey, they won't leave me alone.
We got everything we need, honey.
Someone's gonna kill you.
This fucking imbecile even tries to flag down a customer that's just leaving the restaurant after getting their meal to try and, like, talk to them and get them involved in all of this. It's so weird. And she constantly keeps mentioning that someone's going to kill them, that what they're doing is going to get them killed, which is, of course, pretty fucked up. But at least this story has a happy ending because she got arrested shortly after this video went viral in 2017. She was arrested on 3 counts of throwing a missile at a moving vehicle, a charge I didn't even know existed. That sounds like some supervillain shit. How is she throwing a missile? That's like something Senator Armstrong would do in Metal Gear Rising. But then as I read more, it's because she would like throw Gatorade bottles at people or something, so it's pretty wild. So yeah, I just wanted to talk about this story a little bit since it's one I'm very passionate about, and that's about it. So yeah, I talked about this a couple days ago. So when I watched the Speed stream, I got to see most of it as it unfolded. It was so wild. So Speed recently did an entire stream dedicated to shilling a crypto called Paradox Metaverse. It's embarrassing. It's the whole stream was a disaster. So it started with a PS5 giveaway. So you see all the PS5s behind them, and the whole thing with the giveaway is, you know, give it to the chat. Thanks for supporting Paradox Metaverse to the moon. And Speed would take out a sledgehammer and break the PS5s, which I think is terrible. I think it's a fat L. There's few things as corny as this, just breaking expensive things that people really want, especially in this context where it's kind of just spitting in the face of his fans who thought they had a chance at winning some PS5s. I sent it all to CoffeeZilla right before going live, so a couple hours before, and CoffeeZilla started researching it, and he made this video, he did the interview. It has been so entertaining to see, so now I'm excited to watch the video. I did see that he shouted me out in the comments here for tipping him off, and I got butterflies in my stomach. To be to something like this before CoffeeZilla is crazy. So, happy to help. I also did a ton of research on it. I went deep into the weeds. One of the people behind the crypto scam is a YouTuber named Money Kicks, whose dad is worth like 2.1 billion. So, I mean, it has so many layers. It's such an interesting little rabbit hole.
Advertising 10x to 100x, is that a get-rich-quick scheme? Yes or no?
No.
He did them so much credit there because talking to them was like hitting your head against a wall. So he'd ask them a point-blank question, and they do the standard circular talk around it forever. And no matter how many times Coffee would be like, yes or no, they'd still just go into their spiel about shit that is completely irrelevant to whatever they're saying. It was frustrating, but still overall entertaining.
Who couldn't play soccer and was wearing a Buy Paradox Crypto Coin t-shirt. And it quickly
So
got worse.
good.
The live chat started calling Paradox Coin a scam in the middle of this sponsored
So I looked into this a little bit. This guy has made an entire career off looking like Cristiano Ronaldo. So he was in another YouTuber's video from a few years back called the Cristiano Ronaldo prank, and they just walked him around with security and got people's reactions.
a Buy Paradox Crypto Coin t-shirt. And it quickly got worse. The live chat started calling Paradox Coin a scam in the middle of this sponsored stream and called iShowSpeed a sellout, which caused him to get very angry.
The fact I ever make like the fact that y'all just thinking me like that is just crazy. I hate that, bro. Y'all so weird, bro.
It's crazy.
He also tried to guilt trip the fans because there was a lot of donos coming through like that were like, this is a scam, Speed. You have to know this is a scam. And be like, why are you guys saying that? You're hurting my feelings. The fact you think of me like that makes me really upset. And you know I would never do that to you guys. It's just, you're making me really sad right now, just guilt tripping them. He's like, I just want to see W's in the chat. No more L's, no more of that. Just W's in the chat, only mods, only W's. It was fucking embarrassing. Shameless. Now, yeah, it is important to remember, Speed himself is a kid. He is 17, and people keep using that as an excuse. And I think to some level, that's fine, because he should have people around him that are able to sniff out scams like this. But Speed also clearly knew what he was doing. The audio in here that leaked because he didn't mute all of the mics so it got picked up pretty much confirms that he knew this was kind of shady shit to begin with. He is not 19. He says he's 19. He is 17. He was born in 2005. He is a minor. He is a kid. It is a meme that he says he's 19. We double-checked last night. He is born in 2005. He's 17. But his team around him is clearly not actually looking out for him, for allowing him to do shit like this and be used. I'd like to come in here and further clarify that I'm not saying everything that happened is excusable because he's a kid. He still, of course, bears the responsibility and at the end of the day has the final say in what he does and what he promotes. So he should be doing at least the bare minimum to have an understanding of what's going on and what he's actually promoting. Because even during the stream, he couldn't even remember the name of the company like twice. Which, of course, made the chat turn against him, saying things like sellout and I show scammer. So I do absolutely think that he needs to pay more attention to this kind of shit, and he also needs people around him on his team that are old enough to rent a car and actually have experience in life that can look at things like this, go through it, and then decide if it's legitimate or not, and then relay that information to him. Because right now, it doesn't seem like he has that team. From the look of things, he's got a bunch of people around him that just care about money, like Mr. Krabs here, so it leads to absolute catastrophes like this. And I do think that at the end of the day, Speed did get used here. He was exploited by this shady, shitty crypto company to shill their dog shit. But that doesn't mean that Speed is blameless in this situation here, even though he is a kid.
And that is the fact that all these teenagers and kids called this guy out. I mean, just think about it. The target of most crypto scams is gullible people. And who's more gullible than kids and teenagers? So when those people see right through your scam...
You know who's more gullible than kids and teenagers is adults who think they're early. I would wager the most gullible people on the planet are like the mid-20s people on the cusp of what they think is new technology or anything that will make them money. I think those are the most gullible people. You see that all the time from the crypto community. Hey, can someone recover my NFTs? I clicked on a link in my emails talking about minting new boof tokens, and now all of a sudden my whole NFT collection's gone. I think I got fished. Any help? Like, you never hear the end of that shit. I think they are much more gullible than kids. 100%.
The only problem is, he forgot to fully mute the mic.
So what do I do now? Oh, they're spending LCM.
Now, before we get to the rest of this audio of Speed exposing this scam, let's talk about Paradox Coin, the thing he's promoting. How do we know this is a scam anyways? Well, I checked out their website to learn more, where they call themselves the future of gaming.
To answer that question, how do we know this is a scam in the first place? I think every crypto project should be guilty until proven innocent. If any crypto startup comes around, you should assume it's a scam until they prove otherwise. That is the safest way of navigating the crypto space.
Is that they're not one thing. The Paradox Metaverse is actually 7 things, each one possibly dumber than the last. And I'm going to explain them. So first up is the Paradox game, which has graphics out of the PS2 era, which made me wonder why they'd be giving away PS5 and trying to make your games look worse by comparison. But it gets even crazier because I spoke to the founders and they called their game AAA quality. And I took issue with
It's pretty close. It is actually, this is up there with like the new Saints Row, Crackdown 3 maybe? Like, it's not far off. Also, from what I was reading, they used a lot of stock assets. So and I don't know this for sure because I'm not familiar with all the stock assets available. But that would mean that they're not even like actually building it ground up or anything like that, or even trying. They're just asset flipping like the shit we play on Steam Bad Game Night. I'm not 100% sure on that though. I was just reading about it.
when you describe yourself as an indie game.
I don't want to interrupt you, but just give me.
You are interrupting me. Of course you are. You don't call yourself an indie game.
That shit got dank quick. Yeah, that's a lot of what happened in the live stream. They just immediately just start flooding like a Xbox Live party chat. Whenever he's trying to like call out something, they immediately just flood. So much. It's like a wall of noise.
A UK-based indie studio.
So yeah, I'm not buying this AAA.
Comments are turned off on that video, by the way. Nothing shows confidence in a project quite like turning off the feedback on the announcement in the trailer.
And once you do that, you have to wait 24 hours before starting another mission. I guess if you do that full time, they estimate you make $500 a week based on 4 hours a day of playing. Wait, I thought...
God, I love that. So the whole thing tries to prey on people, like, play to earn is the term. So you play our game and you earn money. So, like, yeah, you'll come in, you'll, you know, invest or whatever, but you're earning money through playing this game and doing our missions with our paracoins. But it's all just worthless nonsense dog shit. It's not real.
Playing. Wait, you can rent out your avatar to someone else for paracoins and passive income. Okay, so now you have paracoins, right? What are you gonna do with them? Well, you can sell them, but why sell them when you can lock them up and stake them for, get this, even more paracoins? If you do this, your paracoins turn into P-Save, which then you lock up for a period. Sorry. The longer you lock up your money, the more you earn in a process they call delay and get paid. Sure, I guess.
Fuck?
Now, if you want to understand how this entire staking process works, their flowchart.
That's a head scratcher.
Even more confused. Here it is, and instead of explaining it, I'm going to label all of this Ponzi nonsense. This.
Well, let's not write it off too quickly. Let me take a peek here at the old flowchart. Staking process. Para used for P-Save. Para distributed. Para used in purchase for the staking protocol. Staking pool, which goes into the initial stake withdrawing from pool and getting rewarded with paracoins. And now your stake is complete. Easy. But now staking pool and the funds dip below 50. A conditional mint comes in. And then... what the fuck? It's all simple, honestly.
There's 7 more. So if you're not a gamer, they also give you other schemes you can get involved in. For example, there's the Paradox DAO, where you can stake PDAO coins to earn up to 10% a year in returns. And if that's not your thing, you can try the Paradox Pad, where they promise
so many options
to 100x multiples if you invest. Okay.
They made a bet here with CoffeeZilla, where they said they would change their name to CoffeeZilla if Paradox Meta didn't open to 20 to 30 bucks, and it opened to 10 cents. Here. So they didn't even get the full pump and dump. So this is where that bad girl kicked off. And here's their bet.
I'll make this deal with you right here, right now. I'll make this deal with you right here, right now.
Okay.
Our coin launches and it doesn't do a minimum 20 to 30 or... I will change my name to Coffee. Fucking, I don't even know what your channel's called. What's the channel called?
Tip? I don't know.
CoffeeZilla.
CoffeeZilla. I will change my name to CoffeeZilla. I'll make this deal.
Unfortunately, he didn't do it. He didn't change his fucking name. I haven't checked today, though. Maybe it did hit 20 bucks. Let's take a peek. It's now at 9 cents. I can't believe it. What? Man, I can't believe it didn't go to $20 or $30. Crazy. Criminal, even. Is nobody playing their game at the moment? It's the goddamn World of Warcraft killer on those battlegrounds.
Up to 20% on staking rewards, all right? Now, if all of that sounds dumb, you can even get your friends to invest too. Every person you get gets £5. Okay, whoop-de-doo. Now, the last one we're gonna cover is Paradox events. To realize is a waste of money.
This is the only way to get rich in 2022 without starting up a business from scratch. For every person that you refer to Amyotali University, you get £15.
Now I confronted.
God, I hate that so fucking much. That it's one of my biggest gripes. Those guru programs, and people for some reason buy in and then fight tooth and nail for them. You just train your own little warriors, your own little cult.
No, I think saying that this is the only way you're going to get rich is wrong.
People don't get rich on affiliate programs?
People don't make a living.
It's not the
No.
only, you say I found the only way to get rich.
But also no.
Knowledge.
I would be so curious if there is anyone that has ever got rich from affiliate programs. I would be shocked. Like, not, obviously, at the top level, affiliate programs are great for the gurus. They make millions. I'm talking like a normal, just random person. Yes, I am a career affiliate promoter. I bring people to this goober's university for money. And now I own 5 Ferraris in this garage.
I'm doing a bit of businesses. We've done, alhamdulillah, we've done all right. Very good. Now we're just celebrating life in the sense.
Life is step by step, thank
100%, 100%.
Wait, how's Money Kicks talking about life is step by step?
You don't understand,
What was your
Coffee.
step one? Being the son of a billionaire? What?
You
what
don't
was your
get it.
step
You just
two?
don't get
like
it.
at that point, is he just talking to people like, hey, have you tried step one yet? Now, this is the whole crew.
Yeah, he was just, again, born rich. Dad's a billionaire. Yeah, the video he's showing is this one as well. So Money Kicks posted this right before the speed stream. Oh my god, he took it down. Okay, unlucky. Okay, I guess I should have saved it. It was spending a day with a crypto billionaire and I show speed. That was the clip that he got it from. But it was a rough video. It was rough.
So that's just what it sounds like to me, and apparently to a lot of children and teenagers. So I think it's probably gonna flop. But now that you understand what Paradox is, it's time to go back to I Show Speed, trying to keep his chat from figuring out what's going on.
All right, so look, it's cool now. Relax. Yo, relax. Why listen to the chat? You see no more scam. The microphone. I know. I'm just trying to make. No. Bro, you know what I'm doing, bro.
Oof.
I'm not gonna say it, but then it's gonna be obvious, bro.
Yeah, I think it's a little too late for that.
Stop spamming. I'm not a scammer, bro. Why do you keep spamming? Bro, I'm not a scammer, dog. I made a little mistake, that I wish I never did, but I'm not a scammer, bro.
Now, at the very least, Speed apologized in the very next stream and looks like he cut ties with everything. So, this was pre-sale. They didn't go live on that day, I don't think. I think they went live yesterday. So, hopefully, no one in his audience lost any money on it. But what an absolutely reputational nuke he took there. Fucking bit a fat L, unfortunately. No one decided to do any level of thinking about that partnership there. But yeah, this Ronaldo impersonator moment was so special. It was so fucking good. They bring in the Ronaldo impersonator, play it off like the real Ronaldo, so they hyped it up for a long time. They're like, if we get enough Paradox Metaverse to the moon in the chat, we'll bring out something special. Go follow the Twitter, here's the Twitter, go follow it. And they got 2,000 followers. They're like, oh fuck, that just unlocked it. Turn around, Speed, close your eyes. We got a special surprise for you. Guess in the chat who it's gonna be. And then Paradox Metaverse to the moon. And they bring out fake Ronaldo. They bring out Chris Orlando here. And they all play it off like it's the real Ronaldo. And almost immediately in the chat, people are like, what the fuck? That's not Ronaldo. It was quite an obvious joke. Not to everybody, though. In fact, if you go on Twitter right now, Speed posted a picture with the impersonator. There are still so many of his fans that think he met the real Ronaldo, and they were reflecting on this stream, and like, it was great to see Ronaldo socialize with you like that, and he knows who you are because he did one of Speed's things. They're like, holy shit, Ronaldo actually knows who you are. So there are a lot of them that really believed it was the real deal. They were trolling. You like to think that, but I just don't believe it. You have to remember, a lot of his audience is kids as well. It's of course important to mention that during the stream they do eventually drop it and reveal it's not the real Ronaldo, it's an impersonator. It's not Cristiano Ronaldo, it's Christopher Rowland. But I think a lot of the kids only focused on the part that went viral, which was Speed's reaction to meeting Ronaldo, where he's yelling and screaming and shit and hugging him. So a lot of them still to this day believe that he actually has met Ronaldo because of this moment. Why did he destroy the PS5s? He thought it'd be comedic? I don't know. That was bad. Like, even before all the crypto shit started, they led with the PS5 stuff and he was breaking it and immediately turned chat against him. I don't know why you'd ever do that. I hate that shit. That was a trend back in like 2009 or whatever, whenever the PS3 came out. Going to GameStop, midnight release for PS3 and breaking it. And it was always so fucking douchey. And it is still douchey to this day. Why? I don't know, man. They must have thought that it was a good joke. I don't watch a ton of Speed streams, I'll be the first to admit. I am familiar with him to some level, but it's just not my cup of tea. I'm sure most of you know I'm not really big into the really loud equals entertaining stuff. And that's mainly his brand, so it's just not for me. So I don't know what the breaking PS5s was for. Maybe because it makes a loud noise or it's destructive, shocking. I don't know. The fake Ronaldo came out on TikTok and said they specifically asked him not to say a word or they wouldn't pay him. This isn't what I was talking about.
What are you? Like, are you like Ronaldo brother? Like, chat, who is this guy?
And the resub Fuzzy and Abby and Phony. Yep, that's that whole situation. Pretty wacky stuff. To many people, Florida is an incomprehensible wasteland, almost like something out of a fantasy novel, like Narnia, if Narnia was infested with drugs and human trafficking. But for me, I call Florida home. I've lived in this utopia for all 28 years of my life, and I've gotta tell ya, I swear with my hand on a stack of Bibles, there's nowhere else I'd rather live, being completely truthful. Born and raised from the womb to the tomb in Florida. Well, I guess not womb to tomb, because I'm pretty sure Florida's gonna be underwater within the next 20 years, but hey, we're on a tight schedule, I guess. We're on the clock now, and that only makes the time we have with Florida even more special. What's that expression? The star that burns brightest burns out fastest? That is very applicable to Florida. It is a shining star of a state. That little hemorrhoid on the USA? That's right. That's Florida, baby. So anyway, I was feeling awfully patriotic today, and I wanted to celebrate some Florida enthusiasm by talking about a few stories that I've just been thinking about a lot over the last couple days since I learned about them because they're so wacky. Florida has a reputation for producing the most outrageous headlines ever, which is why Florida Man has been like a coined phrase for quite a few years now. Florida Man is just always referring to the crazy stories that could only really happen in Florida. And there's just some that I've really been thinking about that have happened recently. The first story is almost wholesome in its stupidity. So a man stole an electric scooter from Target and then assembled it outside the Target he had stolen at. So he was out there assembling this electric scooter for quite a long time, which gave the police ample opportunity to show up and arrest him.
What's going on, man? Do me a favor, stand up.
Huh?
Stand up. I'm gonna detain you for a second. Come here. Put it down. Yes, sir.
Jimmy Neutron's already been hard at work assembling this device. You can see the electric scooter box right next to him, so he's taking it out, he's following the instructions and putting it together. And usually these aren't exactly quick projects, so the authorities would have had plenty of time to not only receive the call from Target, but to then go ahead and stop for lunch if they wanted to, and then still show up in time to arrest this guy. He was out there for quite a while building the scooter, so the police showed up and probably were beyond surprised to see that he was still there. This was probably like a jump scare for them as well, that this guy who had stolen his scooter like 30 minutes ago was just outside putting it together.
You know why I'm detaining you? No, sir. No? Okay. Once I get these on you, I'll explain it to you. We'll get it all figured out, alright? Alright.
A confounding mystery, no doubt. Why would this good Samaritan just casually putting together the electric scooter he just stole possibly be getting arrested or detained here? Something that science can't quite explain, I suppose. I just really like this whole idea here. He steals the scooter and he's like, alright, great. Oh man, I can't ride this. It's in the box. Well, guess I'm gonna have to put this shit together like it's some fucking Legos. And he just does it outside the Target he stole it at. He could have taken that anywhere else. Literally anywhere else. He could have taken it to like a nearby park or even just on the sidewalk somewhere and started putting it together. But instead, he puts it together at the danger zone, the hot spot, where he had just committed a crime.
Did you buy the scooter? You don't want to answer that question?
Caught him with his hand in the cookie jar with that question. He asks if he bought the scooter, to which he receives no reply. So then the reality starts to sink in for this guy. I'll go ahead and break down the story here, though it's not super interesting, very generic. Target employees saw him grab the Razor electric scooter, so then they just called the police on him, who then showed up and arrested him because he was outside fucking building the thing. What I really love so much about this one is the fact that this is actual, like, Skyrim NPC behavior. So this guy committed a crime. He takes the scooter, he steals it. And then the second he leaves the store, he must have forgot how he acquired that scooter and thought it was totally okay to just go ahead and start putting it together there. That item he just stole. The next story I want to share with you all is actually a really interesting crime plot. This one's got a lot of layers to it. This one's like almost a huge scheme. It's a $1 million plus milk theft. This is actually like a whole crime group, like the fucking Milk Mafia. They got together and hatched the perfect crime, like Ocean's 11. They decided they were going to steal a fucking ton of milk. A lot of dairy products. It actually goes pretty deep. So the 6 suspects were employees of Island Dairy, a milk distributor that worked with MacArthur Dairy, a milk and dairy products company, and they were arrested as a result of an investigation dubbed Operation Got Milk. This is already a lot to take in. So you've got a lot of players at play on the chessboard here, a lot of pieces in position. When I first saw the headline, I expected it to be like 1 or 2 Florida men that thought they could steal a lot of milk and sell it. So they stole $1 million worth of milk, and I was like, holy shit, they just made $1 million. It took me a minute to register in my fucking smooth little brain here that who in the world, who on God's green earth is going to be buying $1 million worth of milk? That's not exactly a product that you could turn around and immediately get your money out of. You'd be squatting on a massive, massive fucking inventory of dairy for years before you even remotely started to be able to sell some of it. I don't think there's like a booming black market for milk, so it's not like you're just going to immediately be able to turn it around and sell it on the fucking Grand Exchange like it's RuneScape or something. And I've got to be honest, I'll admit my ignorance here. I don't know if Big Dairy buys from random people, right? So if you have $1 million worth of milk that you have stolen from these trucks, how are you going to try and sell it to a different distributor or a different company? I just don't think they'd be buying your, trunk of milk, right? You pull up behind an alley and you're like, all right, I've got the fucking product here. And they give you money for the milk. I don't think a huge market to be able to immediately turn these products into money in their hands. News stations reported that suspects were delivery drivers and dispatchers for Island Dairy. Since 2021, the suspects systematically pilfered more than $925,000 worth of milk from MacArthur Dairy, along with around $350,000 worth of crates. So obviously we're dealing with a lot of milk here. This is more than a Morton Joe was able to harvest in Mad Max Fury Road. The men would allegedly manipulate the ordering system, causing extra dairy products to be loaded onto the distribution delivery trucks. Police said that the delivery drivers would deviate from their pre-assigned routes, meet with another individual, and transfer the extra dairy products to their delivery truck. So they even reveal the method here. They're just giving away the formula that they used. One suspect allegedly sold each stolen milk carton for $10. Let's pump the brakes for a moment. Who the fuck is buying that? Not only is the price not great, But it's also extremely sketchy just to be buying a carton of milk from a stranger. Who would do that? That shit could be poison. It could be just fucking liquid cyanide in there. Like, what? Why would you do that instead of just going to Walmart and getting a carton of milk for like much less than that usually? It just doesn't compute. Who would treat this guy like he's their drug dealer, like their plug? Like, you know, passing out free milk cartons like, hey, come here. I've got some milk cartons in the trunk of my car. First one's free. But if you ever need your fix, you can meet me by the CVS dumpster. I got plenty more milk cartons where that came from. Like, I just can't even imagine that world. That's so wild. This was an organized crime, basically, where they are working in unison to steal products from a company, and obviously the person receiving those products was selling stolen goods. Officials told WTVJ that Island Dairy conducted an internal investigation that uncovered the irregularities and identified the potential suspects. Police were then contacted and began surveillance on the suspects. Hours later, investigators said they captured the transfer of stolen dairy products on video. So they got him. They got him. This is actually a pretty sizable theft here. $1 million plus worth of milk is fucking crazy. So yeah, I definitely wanted to share that one because, wow, what a plan to steal and sell milk, of all things. Anyway, these were just two stories I had read recently and watched, I suppose, since there's videos of both, that have really just stuck with me. I keep thinking about them because they're so goofy. So I just wanted to share that. That's really about it. So yeah. This is one of the wilder stories I've seen this year. It almost sounds made up, like a fake headline in GTA Online or something. It sounds AI generated by ChatGPT. It's hard to believe this is real. A YouTube couple has now just been sentenced and will receive prison time, at least for the husband, for a series of videos where they showcased blatant insurance fraud. Multiple videos of blatant insurance fraud. And the word multiple is doing so much heavy lifting here, it's a sin. Like, that is an understatement. Over 160 videos allegedly showcasing insurance fraud attempts or collisions caused by the YouTube couple in order to get money from their insurance. Also, road rage as well as provoking road rage. Just like this absolute massive pile of horrible shit they were doing in their vehicle in order to get money from insurance. Everyone hates scammers, but the roller coaster doesn't stop there. It doesn't matter if you've already puked your guts out, here comes the encore. They're also facing, well, and have been sentenced for child abuse because they were intentionally causing these accidents with their kid in the car, for some of them. And they would have got away with it too if it wasn't for those meddling internet points. This is the most on-brand shit for the modern landscape of brain rot, clout goblin mentality. The father couldn't keep his hand out of the cookie jar of internet clout, so he started posting these dash cams of the collisions and insurance fraud attempts on his YouTube channel, and then shamelessly went to TikTok to accuse some of the other drivers that he got into the collisions with that he himself caused of being insurance scammers.
What you see here, this is Jeremy Morales. He's about to set me up for an insurance scam. He's about to set up an accident. He recognized me from Facebook.
Unhinged lunatic behavior right here, and then proudly posted on his own TikTok page. So what happened is, he had suddenly started to brake, and the driver behind him had to cross the double yellow line to get around him to avoid a rear-end collision, and then Christopher turns into him in order to force the accident. And the driver was initially found to be, I believe, like 90% at fault because he crossed the double yellow line. Christopher was actually quite gifted, an idiot savant when it came to insurance fraud.
He's doing it and he knows how to not be at fault for him.
It was last April. Jeremy Perales says his insurance premium shot up after this accident in Yucaipa. But was it really an accident?
To think, to be able to do this to a person, set them up for an accident?
I was stopped and then he hit me.
Jeremy says his insurance deemed it 90% his fault because he crossed into the other lane. But it isn't the first so-called accident Phelps had been in.
Just the way Christopher Phelps speaks is off-putting. He sounds straight out of Dr. Evil's lair. He just sounds menacing and, like, genuinely unhinged. And then he's talking about how, like, it's unspeakable how this man could try and set up an accident all because he recognized me from Facebook. Holy shit, that is deranged. You think he recognized you from Facebook and then tried to set up this accident? That doesn't even make sense. Obviously, Christopher doesn't believe that. His whole MO was insurance fraud in order to collect on the insurance paycheck. But Jesus, it's just so weird to listen to him speak. He just gathered mountains upon mountains of evidence against himself and posted it online. And somehow investigators stumbled upon this cornucopia of evidence that the husband, Christopher Phelps, was gathering of their insurance fraud and child endangerment. Like, Christopher ended up being his own worst enemy. He was like, the Zodiac killer, leaving all these clues, all these breadcrumbs for investigators to somehow find. And I have no idea how they found his channels, because he was getting like 50 or 60 views per video. I don't know how the fuck they ended up there. You would have been more likely to end up in Narnia than on his channel. But Jesus Christ, they must have had L from Death Note on the case, because they found all of it, and they really cannonballed into the rabbit hole. Investigators found at least 23 collisions, allegedly documented by Phelps, which were linked to at least 17 insurance claims. Christopher is receiving 3 years in the slammer, and his wife is getting only a little bit of time in jail, and then 3 years of supervised probation. Now, I'd like to show you a couple more videos here from the archive of Christopher Phelps and his insurance fraud journey. I have to mute the first part of the video here because this goober was playing DMCA copyright music. I'll just explain what he's saying. He's saying that the driver that he's pointing to is mad because Christopher passed him. Christopher's got some steam coming out of his ears for this video because he was actually found at fault by the officers on the scene for abruptly stopping, which causes this rear-end collision. But Christopher's arguing that the guy flipped him off, which the guy does admit to, and that because he was mad, when he stopped for a utility vehicle, the guy intentionally rear-ended him.
And just to show you that utility truck, here's the guy that hit me right there. That is the utility truck that was turning left onto my street. I was trying to stop for him and give him way to go down this way, and unfortunately this guy was mad because I passed him.
What a bunch of mumbo jumbo, a load of hooey here. He's claiming that, oh, this is his fault, he was so mad, real mad goofball, and he rear-ended innocent old me who was just stopping for this utility vehicle over here. When the video immediately betrays that, what are you talking about? You stopped abruptly, you brake-checked this man way back where those two trucks were parked, and then your evidence that you were actually stopping for a utility vehicle turning left is like significantly further along than where you actually stopped. Unless you were giving this man like 700 feet worth of turning radius room, that doesn't make any sense at all. That's not what happened. It's a blatant fucking lie. And here's 2 rapid-fire insurance fraud attempts from old Christopher and his wife. I don't know if their kid's in the car for these, but probably is, considering they did that quite a few times.
And we're gonna do this. Find out if they're gonna conspire with the sheriff, or if they're gonna cooperate. We'll see.
This is the last TikTok video that Christopher posted, him as a warrior about to go to battle for his case, fighting for justice, and signs off with, we're gonna find out if they're gonna conspire with the sheriff or cooperate. That is so fucking weird. Such a weirdo, and such a bad fucking person. Him and his wife. To not only be insurance fraud scammers, but to put your life, the life of the drivers on the road, and the life of your child all on the line for a couple doubloons from insurance is ridiculous. That is so fucked up and disgusting. A scam that endangers your life, the other drivers' lives, and the life of your kid that you're putting in these situations. I think 3 years was way too light of a sentence for this guy, and his wife got off way too fucking easy here. I don't understand how they got such light sentencing for this shit. They even did get assault with a deadly weapon charges because they were using their car as a fucking weapon. They were just hitting other drivers on the road to try and squeeze some coins out of insurance claims. They were more than willing to not only endanger themselves, but everyone else, including their kid. Every day was bring your child to work day, basically, so they'd fucking strap their kid into the back seat and just blast into another vehicle to try and file another insurance claim. And if they unsuccessfully caused an accident, they'd then try and make a road rage incident out of it. It's crazy how little they got punished for it, relatively speaking. I think the sentencing is way too lenient on how often they were doing it. This is very clearly premeditated, and it comes at a high price to everyone around them. This could have been a lot worse. There could have been deaths, and even in its current state, many of the other drivers, they had insurance premiums be hiked up as a result of this because some of them were found at fault for the shit that Christopher Phelps and his wife were doing. The whole thing is just so fucking horrible, and I'm really pretty upset that they get off so easily from it. But yeah, I wanted to talk about this because I found it so fascinating. I learned about it from Otozi, who recently made a video covering it as well. It's so degenerate. It's so fucking ridiculous. So yeah, just wanted to talk about it. That's it. So yeah. The words scam and YouTuber go together like peanut butter and jelly. Usually when you see these two words in the same sentence together, it indicates that a YouTuber is the one doing the scamming. But today, I've got a goofy little sad story for you that subverts your expectations more than Game of Thrones Season 8. This turns that narrative on its head, because in today's story, a YouTuber was the victim of a scam and lost about $1 million in pursuit of a dream. This is the story of how a friend of mine named Oompaville was schmeckeldorfed out of 1 million clams by a greasy worm named Jake. Oompaville just posted a beautifully made documentary going over the entire situation, so I highly recommend checking that out for the full story. Basically, Oompaville embarked on a journey to fulfill a dream of starting his own candy company called Sour Boys, and along the way got into bed with a bad demon named Jake, who hosed $1 million out of him in a big, disgusting scam. And this is something that I actually have a close personal connection to because I was actually very much updated on his company, Sour Boys, over the last year and a half. Last January of 2022, Oompaville talked to me about his candy company, and I was super excited by it. Oompaville was glowing, blushing in the cheeks every time he'd talk about it. It was like he was going to prom every single day when I'd ask about the candy company. And it made me super happy to see that from him. Just a really cool project and venture taken by someone that was very passionate about the product. And I mentioned this in the stream clips I want to show a little bit later, but I'll mention it here too. I'd actually tried the candy, well, me and my friends had all tried the candy by complete accident. It was sent to our P.O. box like 2 years ago or something like that. And we were eating it during a Moist Esports watch party and just fucking loving it. And we had no idea it was his. It wasn't until much later that we learned that Sour Boys that we were eating was Oompaville's. So it was a product that I had already liked without ever even knowing it was his. So it was top quality. And I eventually was told by Oompa that he was unfortunately used like a fucking fleshlight by a scammer and lost tons and tons of money, and that he'd be making a video on it. And now that video is finally out, so I'd like to talk about it here today because it is tragic. Now, I want to make it clear that this doesn't mean that Sour Boys is dead and buried. According to Oompaville, they are still pursuing a full launch, and it is apparently in a very good place, so that should be on the horizon at some point. But this is a massive $1 million hiccup. That's a hiccup that could put you in an early grave, honestly. Losing that amount of money to a scammer is nothing shy of an absolute asteroid hitting your world. But Oompa and his family have persevered and are still planning on launching Sour Boys in a big way. Sour Boys is started by Oompaville, but he has hired like most of his family to do it with him, as well as other people on payroll. So it is a huge undertaking, and, God willing, he's not been scammed by his family next. It should come out at some point. But anyway, let me explain what the scam was and how he lost so much money over the course of starting this business. In a nutshell, Oompa launching a candy company. It's actually candy that I had before by accident, like I didn't know it was his. You might remember during our early Moist Esports watch parties, we were all eating a bunch of like sour candy. That was his candy. We didn't know it. Like, it actually slapped. And those were like, I guess, prototypes that he did like a promotional for that we got. And fast forward over the last year and a half or so, I don't remember how long it's been now, but he's been trying to launch that candy company in a bigger way, so he's upped the production, got a warehouse, and he got a big machine in order to really be able to pump out volume and scale. Turns out the person who supposedly built the machine and shipped him the machine was a giant fucking scammer who also happened to be a friend of his. Not like a best friend, but a close enough friend where it would be the ultimate betrayal to even consider a scam. So basically, the machine that he bought under the assumption that it was built by his friend, serviced by his friend's friend, was all a complete lie. What it was he bought the machine from China and upcharged Oompa like fucking 3 or 4x what it was actually valued at. So in total, he's out $1 million. Would have been more too. He was supposed to send an additional like 70 grand to the scammer, but he had like a come to Jesus moment about it being fishy. And yeah, he is still planning on launching the candy company. He says it's in a good spot, but he did lose $1 million over the course of this journey because of that scammer. That was his friend. When you watch the video, I think it becomes pretty clear how anyone would have fallen for this. Like, there was so much communication. The person was, for the most part, reputable. It was a friend, trustworthy, so you always give them the benefit of the doubt in the first place. Oompa bent over backwards to pay wages and accommodate in order to get everything, situated, getting everything serviced, having a maintenance team, doing pretty much everything by the book. But it just turns out it was all a complete fucking lie. Even if it wasn't a scam, he'd be out $1 million. Yeah, but he'd have a company to show for it. Right now, he still has to keep building in order to get that ready. He says he is close and it's in a good spot, but that $1 million, assuming it didn't go to a scammer, would have helped launch the company and they would have already been in production. Well, and also, another thing that I think is worth mentioning, the machine that he did get that came from China that he was told was built by his friend and all them, the machine was quoted on the receipt as $143,000. Meanwhile, Oompa paid like 700 grand. So he also wouldn't have been out $1 million and he would have also been in production by now. Even if it was your friend, wouldn't you look up how much the machine may be going for? Well, he wasn't buying a pre-built machine. The whole reason that he was going to his friend for this was to produce that machine, to make that machine. It wasn't supposed to be like a pre-built machine. So where would you even go to get information on that or see other competitive quotes when this is supposed to be like basically a bespoke deal here? It wasn't $1 million for the machine. He lost $1 million over time by getting the machine and paying the guy and everything. Yep. He said $700,000 to the actual scammer, and then over the course of like wages and other expenses came out to around $1 million in the shitter. Should have consulted me. Easy. True, he should have went to you. He should have been in Twitch chat just looking for the experts. You would have sniffed it out. Just go to Ask Reddit for advice. Where all sane people go, yeah. Why not ask a specialist about this before paying? The guy was a fucking specialist. Well, was supposed to be a specialist. And I guess in a way he was with scamming. Like, I don't know who else he was supposed to find. Like, Willy Wonka? Like, it's a hard thing to find people for that. Can he do something to press charges, or is it out of his control? Oh, they could absolutely press charges. 100%. Now, I don't know how hard they're going to go on that, but yeah, you can't just scam someone out of $700,000 for labor you didn't do and a completely false pretense on the whole situation, yeah. They could absolutely sue, and should sue. Can't sue if you can't be served. That's true. You gotta be real elusive. Just hide in the shadows and wear a disguise like glasses and a mustache. That's kind of the general overview of what happened. Again, just to give you the bullet points. Oompaville wanting to start the candy company, eventually realizing that if he wants to scale and keep things interesting, they're going to need to produce the candy themselves. Thus, they're going to need an actual machine. Thus, they're going to need an industrial engineer who knows what they're doing and can make the machine for them. He finds Jake. He hires Jake. He pays Jake up to $700,000 under the assumption that he is making this machine himself specifically for the purpose of the Sour Boys candy production. With tons and tons of delays and a lot of very odd circumstances and things that happen throughout this multiple year venture, he learns that the machine that he eventually does get from Jake's shop is not a machine that Jake or anyone that works for Jake built. It was a machine that Jake purchased from China for $140,000 and was sold to Oompaville for significantly more than $140,000. And since Jake and no one on his team built it, no one knew how to really service this machine. So when eventually Oompaville did have someone that knew Jake come out to help, that person, his name is Will, did not know how to actually work on the machine. Thus, they were at a complete standstill. It was gridlocked. There wasn't a whole lot to be done. They realized then, when Will got there, that they never built that machine. That machine was purchased from China, and everything Jake had been saying, everything Jake had claimed that he was doing, was all a blatant lie at the expense of Oompaville's financial security. $1 million over the course of a few years, and he does still have a machine, but has to retrofit that machine now, completely change it around in order to actually work for the candy that he is producing. That's kind of the whole situation in a nutshell. There's a lot more moving parts in between there. He went in with both feet. He fucking cannonballed into the big business pool here. In the video, he talks about how he had a brief time of homelessness because he put like so much into this. He was like living out of the warehouse. It's a very like actually concerning story, but Oompa tells it with a smile on his face. But hearing that, I'm like, Jesus Christ, that was like reckless and scary. But, you know, things are working out, kind of, though it would have been a lot smoother had he never met Jake and instead found a different engineer. But, you know, that's water under the bridge now. Hopefully Jake will face real punishment for this scam. This is not something that's like, you know, like, oh, that's what a goofball, Jake, you got us. Darn. This is absolutely a needs to be in jail, long prison sentence type of situation for this guy. That's an unforgivable thing to do. So yeah, that's kind of the bare bones of the story. I highly encourage you watch the entire documentary if you want to see like the nitty gritty of everything that went on throughout this entire journey. It's wild and sad. Him, Oompaville, and his family have like a really good attitude about everything somehow. Which is, you know, hats off to them. I don't know how they maintain, like, positivity in the face of $1 million fucking scam like that, but good on them. I'm wishing them nothing but the best. I hope Sour Boys does very well. And yeah, I just wanted to talk about this a little bit because this is a very rare instance of a YouTuber being the victim of a scam. So yeah, that's really about it. So yep. I have covered so many scams on my channel for well over a decade now, and I'm not pulling your leg or exaggerating when I tell you that the one I'm about to go over I find to be the most ridiculous yet. Not in terms of how intricate or in-depth the scam is, it's not some galaxy brain supervillain scheme, it's your standard, classic pump and dump cryptocurrency hogwash. However, it was run by an online pastor and his wife, and they brought in over $3 million and personally pocketed over $1 million into their own little piggy bank. And basically, they led their followers to believe that God would make them extremely wealthy if they put their money into Index Coin, which was their cryptocurrency. I've mentioned this before, but I used to be extraordinarily religious. I actually got baptized twice because I was concerned the Lord might have missed my first baptism. You know, maybe he slept in and didn't get to see it, so I wanted to make sure to do it again just in case. I feel like I can say on good authority that this is just downright blasphemous. That is usually something attributed to the work of the devil, where you sell your soul to the devil in exchange for wealth. That's not something God would ever really say, like, hey, put money into crypto and I'll make sure that it 10x's to the moon. It's a good one, trust me. So the pastor and his wife are facing fraud charges for this, and he released a 9-minute response video. And I don't know how he was able to record that whole video without getting smited, because the shit he says in there is just diabolical. I'm not kidding. He says God told him to do this. He says that God was the puppet master behind all of it, instructed him to do this. Basically, he's just blaming the big man upstairs for this whole hoopla, fundamentally saying that the Lord forced him to scam Christians, like when you really boil it down. And that's only the tip of the iceberg. Mudahar just made a video going more in depth on the particulars of the scam itself, so if you want more information on exactly what happened in that regard, check out some Ordinary Gamers video on it. I'm here to focus on the absurdity of it and the response video that he released, because hooey, it is wacky. Someone by the name of Molly White gave us all a blessing of a nice, concise supercut that breaks down the 9-minute video into just the most important moments that he talks about. So that's what we're going to be watching as opposed to the whole thing.
Caitlin and I are being charged in a civil charge from the Colorado Securities and Exchange Commission for basically selling millions of dollars worth of cryptocurrency that is deemed worthless by the state.
And by everyone else in the world with eyes. So he's trying to cushion it a little bit, like it's a civil lawsuit for all of this, and it's deemed worthless by the state, but it is worthless completely by every possible definition ever. It is worthless. This was, from the get-go, it seems, designed to just make them a lot of money and fuck a lot of the followers in the ass. So there's a lot of people that lost a lot of money on this, and now they're looking at some repercussions, and this is his attempt to try and spin himself as kind of the victim here.
Now, the reason that they're saying that it's worthless is because there is no exit for people who have bought.
Do you know what we call that? A scam. Basically, people who bought in can't exit. Their money is now stuck there. But you know who could exit? The pastor and his wife. Oh, and they did. They made off like bandits with over $1.3 million.
We launched an exchange. The exchange technology failed. Things went downhill. And from that point forward, we've just been waiting on the Lord literally for a miracle. So the charges are that Caitlin and I pocketed $1.3 million. And I just want to come out and say that those charges are true. So there's been $1.3 million that's been taken out of, I think it was a total of $3.4 million. But out of that 1.3, $500,000 went to the IRS, and a few $100,000 went to a home remodel that the Lord told us to do.
Yes, you heard that correctly. Go ahead and rewind it if you're still in disbelief. He said that a few $100,000 went to a home remodel that the Lord told them to do. What an insightful conversation that must have been with God. I had no idea God was so into interior design. Not many people get that privilege of being able to speak to him directly. I love to imagine that. Pastor Eli just hanging out one day and God gets him on the horn, rings him up, and he's like, "Hey, Eli, buddy, listen, your house is atrocious. Am I a joke to you? You worship me in a place that looks like this? It's embarrassing. It's revolting. Listen here. Allocate a few $100,000, upgrade this bitch ASAP, so that way you can start worshiping in style, because this is not what Christianity is about. You're living in a goddamn crack shack, and we've got to fix that ASAP, okay? All right, this is the Almighty signing out. Amen." Saddest part is, this strategy actually works. This is an extremely effective tactic used by a lot of really corrupt, evil pastors, most notably Kenneth Copeland. Kenneth Copeland has private jets. And when asked about it, he defends it by saying that God wants him to. There's also another pastor, I forgot his name, but he's a friend of Kenneth Copeland's. The two of them are like these demonic leeches that feed off of each other's wealth. And they both have private jets, and basically said that God needs them in a private jet because it brings them closer to him. And if I remember correctly, they were even quoted saying that they can't be caught in a tube with demons, so they need the privacy of the jet to be more spiritually attuned with God. That's how they justify this luxurious lifestyle they live, which of course runs counter to the actual lessons of Christianity, but for some reason they keep getting away with it. Even in this case, Pastor Eli is receiving a lot of support from the people that he has directly scammed and openly admitting to scamming.
So how this whole thing started is the Lord told us in 21 to walk away from our marketing company, and he said, "I'm going to do a new thing." And then he took us into this cryptocurrency. It was a different cryptocurrency other than index coin at the time. Well, that cryptocurrency turned out to be a scam.
Oh my goodness, he's portraying the Lord as like a reckless investor here, a crypto bro. How many NFTs does God have, you think? How many Bored Apes does he own? Also, Pastor Eli and God must be like this. They must be tight, because they are constantly talking, so much so that the Lord tries to pitch him on cryptocurrency. Like, "Hey, bud, brother, take a peek at this thing. Have you ever heard of cryptocurrency? It uses this holy technology called the blockchain. We should check this out. You should look into this a little bit, Eli." And then, like, the first coin that God leads him down the path of is a scam. He even just openly says it right there. So, like, the first coin, right after going down the spiritual journey with God, it was a scam. How anyone can hear this senseless drivel, this gobbledygook from Pastor Eli and actually take it seriously and believe it is beyond me. But let's play ball with it for a second. God is the creator, and he's omniscient. And yet somehow he fell victim to a cryptocurrency scam? In his infinite wisdom and knowledge, even he was bested by the cryptocurrency menace. What hope do we have? I can only imagine the white paper on that first cryptocurrency that Eli and God went halvesies on there. That must have been the most convincing thing ever, if it was enough to convince the Lord that it was real.
And so the Lord says, give that to them, but also give them a 10x. And I'm like, well, where's this liquidity going to come from? And the Lord says, trust me. Well, as money is coming in, we would be sowing it. And at first it was hundreds of dollars and thousands of dollars, then tens of thousands of dollars.
What is God cooking here? It's like a multi-level marketing scheme. He's about to start running a Ponzi scheme or something here. What? He actually hit Pastor Eli with the trust me bro there on where the liquidity comes from? Interesting. Maybe Pastor Eli is innocent after all. It's so... Obviously dropping the sarcasm here for a second. It is crazy to me that someone like Pastor Eli Regalado, or however you say his last name, is actually trying this right now, and that it's actually working. That's the saddest fucking part. I'm gonna skip ahead real quick here. I was going to save these screenshots till after I finish the response, but it just feels natural to put them in right now. Here's some of the responses that he's received from people in the community. What a crazy ride, Eli. I can't imagine what you guys are going through. Prayers going up. What about the crazy ride that all of the victims are going through with over $3 million stolen from them in this scam? Why are your prayers going to Eli, who made off with over $1 million here? Those prayers aren't even falling on deaf ears. Pastor Eli actively uses prayers as toilet paper to wipe his ass with. This guy took the prayers of hundreds of people that were praying for a miracle, a financial miracle, and completely trashed them. Someone said, standing with you, and then someone else said, unending support. Why? Why are you standing with him? He is openly admitting to a scam. Why are you supporting him endlessly? He is openly admitting to a scam. He doesn't even have the courtesy to take responsibility for his own actions here. He is blaming God, which is like the worst thing you can do in Christianity, to blame God for the evils you have committed. So sorry for stress you passed through. God has the plan for you and your team. He will lead you through to the success of this project. And Eli just says, yes. The project is dead, much like the bank accounts for many of the vulnerable people that Eli exploited here. What do you mean you're sorry for his stress? What about the stress of the actual victims? Someone else says, stay in the boat, trust in the Lord, and stop looking at the storm. Amen, Sean. What do you mean stay in the boat? The boat has capsized. There was no boat. It was a fucking yacht that Eli was buying with the money that he scammed from you and people like you. What do you mean? This is not God's plan. Thanks for the update. No one can close a door the Lord has opened. This is not a door the Lord has opened. This is a door Eli kicked open into fraudulent activity, taking advantage of a ton of people that were vulnerable. And Eli says, Isaiah 22:22, brother, thanks for standing and encouraging us through all of it. Of course, everybody is familiar with Isaiah 22:22. It's one of the most famous sermons. It's the excerpt that states, buy low, sell high. These are just a few examples of people still supporting him. It's just this perception that pastors are infallible, and that if you don't support a pastor that might be sinful on you, it's not. This guy is openly admitting to his scam that he and his wife ran, and he is blaming God for it. That is as sinful as it gets. It is ridiculous to try and paint him as a victim or something like that. It's so unreal.
When he would come in, we tithe, we sow, more money would come in. And so we were just always under the impression that God was going to provide, that the source was never ending, that God was doing a new thing, and that we had nothing to worry about. And we sold a cryptocurrency with no clear exit. We did. We took God at his word and sold a cryptocurrency with no clear exit. And so the prosecutors have to take that and say, these people willingly sold a cryptocurrency with no clear exit. What we're praying for and what we're believing for still is that God is going to do a miracle. God is going to work a miracle in the financial sector.
I'm going to go ahead and spoil how this anime ends. There's not going to be a miracle in the financial sector. This is a bunch of baloney. He and his wife are scammers, and they have used Christianity and God's name in vain here in order to pocket an outrageous amount of wealth for themselves. I feel bad for the victims here because I have no doubt that they're on the older side of things, at least judging by some of the comments I've read, so probably had no clue what cryptocurrency was and just trusted the pastor at his word that God was helping and steering this in the right direction and it would help improve their financial security. I imagine a lot of them were probably desperate, especially given the current climate of things right now. There's a lot of people struggling. So hearing something like this from someone you trust, a pastor, who's saying like, put money in here and the Lord will provide and help you out when you need it most. A lot of people would likely buy into that, and they clearly did, and now they're fucking ruined for it. And meanwhile, this guy and his wife have made over $1 million from it and are still trying to spin this as though they're not evil when they are. This is a terrible, horrible thing to do, made even worse by the fact that he won't just own up to it and instead continues to blame God for it, and then still tries to sew in that like little bit of hope that, hey, maybe there'll be a miracle because God's on our side and helping us out. When that's not going to be the case, this was from the very get-go, it appears, a scam. So yeah, a pretty ridiculous situation here that I just had to talk about a little bit. It is foul. That's about it. So yeah. Obsession is a powerful, scary force that can lead previously sane people to do insane things, to commit unspeakable acts. The act I want to talk about today from an obsessed individual is not unspeakable. In fact, I really want to speak about it, though it is heinous. It is extremely weird, and I can't help but discuss this with all of you. Like I mentioned, obsession is a horrible thing. When it comes to an obsession, it's a lot like playing a game of suck a fart out of Charlie's butt. There are no winners. And that couldn't be more true than with this story here. So there is a hardcore band named Llorona, and yesterday they posted an announcement letting the fans know that an integral member of the band was kicked out because they hatched a nefarious scheme to steal one of the other members' fiancés. And the way that they did this was by secretly lacing their pre-workout with estrogen with the goal of making that bandmate seem less manly in comparison to him. Thus, the fiancé would be more attracted to him, the more masculine guy, and leave her fiancé for him. It's a mind-boggling plan. And at first I thought it was fake. So I actually learned about it on stream last night, and then I waited till today to see if there was like, you know, a reveal that it was all just a joke, a ruse, and it got debunked today. But that hasn't been the case. In fact, there's been more evidence here from Llorona's Instagram story, apparently. I saw these screenshots floating around. There's also been a lot of articles that have been written about this that I believe are saying it's all real, at least based on what they've been able to gather. So these screenshots... I'm sorry guys, the Rigid project is over due to me saying some uncomfortable and disrespectful things to Six and Caroline, such as giving Six estrogen and being obsessed with Caroline and hating Six while I was drunk. I've been kicked out of Llorona as well and will no longer be in the scene. This appears to be some kind of group chat where he admitted all of this in, and I don't know who Zach is there, but he seems like a menace. I can't tell if this is sarcastic or not, but he says, "Damn son, blank scene sucks. Nashville welcomes you with open arms." So I don't know if he just views this as not a big deal. He's like, oh, what a bunch of hooey. They suck over there anyway. Coming over to Nashville, we don't care about you lacing pre-workout with estrogen. You can drug us all the time. Who gives a fuck? Bring that talent to Nashville ASAP, mister. Get on over here. So I'm guessing maybe he's going to relocate to Nashville and probably go from lacing shit with estrogen to lacing it with fentanyl. But there's another bit of information there at the bottom right. I was really drunk and told Six and his fiancé that I was obsessed with her and had a deep hatred for Six and gave Six estrogen to get an edge up on him. So it seems like this is a real situation that happened, and it'd be an odd thing to joke about considering Llorona is no longer a band at the moment because this was their vocalist. Now they need to find somebody else. Now I'll go ahead and play the stream clips where I go over their official statement and learn about it in real time because, man, this is a fucking crazy situation, for sure. Did you hear about that guy who got kicked from his band because he was lacing someone's pre-workout with estrogen so he could steal his girl by looking more manly? That's Galaxy Brain. How can I find that? Who is it? What a supervillain scheme. Who... There's no way I'm gonna find that by typing in. Who was it? Lorna Shore? No. Wait, no. It was one of the Lorna Shore band members? Nuh-uh. I don't believe that. Yeah, no, nothing came up for that. So who was it? Is that recent? I don't know, this man just dropped like a fucking fire little wisdom nugget there and then left. Who was it? Tell me the name of the guy, I want to see it. That sounds amazing. This guy's an estrogenius. True, man, this guy's got the fucking the hookup here. The plug for great stories. It's all over the r/hardcore subreddit. Okay. Well, it should be super easy to just tell me who it is then. Why am I going on a scavenger hunt? Just fucking tell me. But fine. I'll go on the hardcore subreddit. The #1 post on r/hardcore is trying to teach my son how to brush his teeth. What the fuck? What the fuck? That is absolutely not it. I'm on a wild goose chase. Alright, now I'm super curious. Why is this here in the hardcore subreddit? Why is it why is this here? You gotta make sure you brush all your teeth in your mouth from front to the back and side to the fucking side. Open this shit up, let's go. I got it, okay. They're called Yarona. Oh, okay. I thought he put Lorna. So the band is called Yarona. The war on gingivitis is hardcore. So true, brother. So true. Just search Yarona HC on HC Instagram on Google. We have decided to part ways with our vocalist Diego due to admission of very disturbing and concerning behavior towards one of our band members and their partner. He is admitted to being obsessed with said partner and has been attempting to sabotage their relationship by cutting pre-workout he frequently gives from his job with high amounts of estrogen in them. He has been attempting to force a transition onto him for the last 5 months in hopes that it would give him the opportunity to swoop in once he looked stronger and more manly in comparison. This stupid caveman mindset makes zero sense. This tampering has caused confusion and thousands of dollars in medical bills the past month trying to figure out what's wrong. We would not know any of this unless Diego had gotten way too intoxicated and outed himself and stated an admission to all of this via text. There's many more disgusting details that have been left out for the sake of privacy and general censorship. What a fucking plan. Wow. Lacing his pre-workout with estrogen. Well, he's no longer in the band, so Yarona fans, I got bad news for you. I've got to say, that is creative. Another thing that could have been an option if he wanted to put the work in would be just going to the gym and working out harder to look more manly than the other guy, if that was the goal. Actual Disney supervillain, yeah, pretty much. Another option is just to find a single woman. No, you're off your gourd, brother. Find a different girl? No, that doesn't make sense. That just does not make sense. It's fucked up messing with someone's hormones. It can be deadly too. Yeah, I'm curious how much estrogen he was pumping in that pre-workout. Was there any effect? I don't know. They didn't say. So I don't know how effective the estrogen lacing was. They did not say. I'm assuming it wasn't like super noticeable changes or anything. I don't think it was like a crazy like shift or anything, since they didn't know until he admitted it, right? High estrogen can cause you to grow boobies pretty quick. You know, I'm gonna look it up. How long does it take to get some honkers cooking? How long did that go on for? What did they say? 5 months? 6 months? Would that be enough time for him to get a rack from it? How long does estrogen take to develop breasts? The clinical practice guideline of Endocrine Society indicates that breast development starts 3 to 6 months after start of cross-sex hormone therapy. So he very realistically could have started getting some boobies in development there. Wow. He was probably like really confused, like, damn, I've been hitting chest so hard I'm getting tits. Fuck. These weighted dips are really doing a number on me. That's fast though, I wouldn't have expected it to be that quick. And I guess it also depends on how much estrogen he was putting in there too, because it seems like there's different ranges. So I might be in a push-up bra right now and had no clue why. Thinking maybe he was eating too much edamame or something from the soy. I have no idea. A diabolical plan, though. Very creative. Oh yeah, I did know that actually. I forgot about that. Although the male body needs estrogen to function properly, high estrogen levels can cause health problems such as gynecomastia, erectile dysfunction, or infertility. The gynecomastia is a really interesting one. I talked about that not too long ago. You can actually lactate, which is wild. Man, imagine he goes to the gym, he's just fucking pumping and starts squirting. Like, he's like, oh my god. What are they putting in these protein shakes? Why did this happen? Because he wanted to steal his girl. So his plan was to get them all hopped up on estrogen and take his girl. Yeah, unfortunately the title of the video is not misleading. Mr. Lonely himself, Akon, is behind a massive scam. If any of you watching grew up in the 90s or early 2000s, I'm sure that name rings a lot of bells because Akon is an artist who was responsible for some absolutely iconic boner jams back in the day. And a few years ago, he decided to pitch a city, Akon City, which would be powered by the blockchain and have their own form of currency called Acoin. And I've got to tell you, the design documents here, the blueprints, the renders of what Akon City could look like are so outrageous it almost makes the Willy Wonka experience look like a good idea. I feel like everyone who takes even a glance at the proposed Akon City documents will immediately write it off as being impossible and just a load of baloney. And they'd be 100% right in that assumption. This will never happen. This city looks like something out of Final Fantasy. It's just not really feasible. Yet, Akon, as well as other collaborators, are doing their best to try and make it a reality. Though after years of work, the only thing they have to show for it is a single welcome center that has a graffitied picture of Akon on the side. And it doesn't really welcome you to anything because there's nothing to show for it. It just welcomes you to something that's emptier than my colon after eating Greek yogurt first thing in the morning. It takes you to basically just an empty field, though there is a single building skeleton there that has a staircase and that's it, and then just a bunch of cattle roaming freely. So there is no real progress being made on Akon City, and it really seems like from the beginning this was supposed to be just either a full-blown scam or just a narcissistic ego piece for Akon. Because it makes no sense why Akon would introduce a cryptocurrency to Akon City when a lot of African regions already use cryptocurrency in their day-to-day lives. If he was really trying to make this a real thing that wasn't just trying to take advantage and exploit people, it would have made more sense for him to just use the already established Bitcoin or Ethereum, which is prevalent throughout Africa. But instead he introduced his own cryptocurrency and said, I am the bank. He also is the douchebag behind Acoin fucking a ton of early investors. So they actually did sell Acoin, and a lot of people bought into it, and then it immediately collapsed. It went from 132% gain to a 60% loss, and then started offering refunds. And all these investors, when trying to get their refund, basically just got cold-shouldered and never got their refunds for this. They basically just got rugged like everyone else with the crypto boom a few years ago. But anyway, I recommend checking out Patrick Cece's video for an in-depth look at a lot of what went on behind the scenes at Akon City and Akon himself here. I want to show you what Akon City was supposed to look like and how fucking stupid this entire project seems just from like an outside perspective. It really looks like an impossible to complete task that somehow Akon promised would be done by 2024, and yet all they have right now is like a bare bones welcome center and like a single like skeleton of another building. That's about as bad as the Soulja Boy Game Boy. Okay, show a little respect for the Soulja console. Also, Akon City is so much worse than just releasing a fraudulent game console. It is disgusting to compare the two. Akon's City is like the most egregious, over-the-top scam. Like, it's so much worse. Akon actually has a video showcasing it. Look up, this is Akon City. I don't think I ever saw this. I only ever read about Akon City. So here's the entertainment district. What are these? These aren't even buildings. This looks like when you go into Roller Coaster Tycoon and fuck up the terrain. Well, who's your architect? This is what it looks like when you like actually trip acid for the first time. It's even bad CG. Yeah. It's melted. Yeah, I guess their chief architect is Salvador Dali. Brought him back with the Akon City in-house necromancer. The Tech District? What does this mean? Tech 003421? What tech what? What is the tech? What are they doing here? Lex Luthor live here or something? What does this mean? What does it mean? Butt Plug City. Yeah, I mean, not wrong. This all does look like something you'd find on Bad Dragon. Health and safety. Wait. Hold on. Oh, wait, it's this building. I thought he just reused Tech 001 here for the health and safety building, but it's this building. They're just side by side. Yeah. This is the police station here. They inhabit this pack of hot dogs. Here's the fire department, which is conveniently placed in the worst possible position for them to get anywhere, because they're going to have to navigate this minefield, this fucking labyrinth. Good luck having a quick response time from the firefighters. Unspecified office building, I guess. Residential building. General hospital. Outpatient clinic. This is another residential building. Just this coral. Game name? Oh, no, this is a city. This is a Akon city in real life. Apparently they actually did build a building, though, so I'm gonna have to check that out. I never saw this video go up for it. Education District, this is Education 1, Education 2, Education 3, so I'm guessing this is pre-K, kindergarten, middle school, high school, and then everyone parks here. In this teardrop. And then another residential building. Osmosis Jones type landscape. Bro modeled the city from the mitochondria. Yeah, true. So here's the Scenewood district. Oh, here, Akon Tower. He's even got his own, like, Avengers building. So this is where Akon lives, and only Akon. Wait, wasn't this in the Tech District? Isn't this building already occupied by Tech? Am I misremembering the layout? It might be too sophisticated for my tiny little reptile brain, but I'm pretty sure that was one of the Tech buildings. Oh no, it's right here. It's right above Tech 4. Then a bunch of filming studios, more residential buildings, some more office buildings, and this random media tower, I guess. Looks like a cactus theme park. Yeah. Convenient location. All of this looks like Hitachi wands. It looks less like butt plugs, and it legitimately looks like the things you'd see in porn. Those, like, really, ribby wands. Looks like Cryptoland 2.0. Well, apparently it's powered by the blockchain, so it kind of is Cryptoland 2.0. I have to imagine whoever put this presentation together was actually laughing so hard as they charged Akon an exorbitant amount for it. Yeah, I'll throw this piece of shit together for like, I don't know, like $3 million bucks. Done. Shake my hand. Looks like a pretty cool place to live. I don't know what I'm looking at here. It's just random JPEGs that are floating through on this building, but how could you not smile if you lived in a place like Akon City? Alright, let's see the current Akon City. Do we really need an explanation for why Akon City will never happen? I think we all know just by looking at the design blueprints there. Like, come on.
Building has like futuristic curvatures outside. It definitely looks like something out of Wakanda, but only one building so far.
Whoa, what was this? Wait, what? This is there right now. Also, you should probably have someone else come in and do the artwork on the side of your building. Why? That looks like extremely low poly. It's like a PS1 render of Akon. You could definitely find a better artist for that. In March 2022, Stevens asked a judge to freeze Akon's New York assets, claiming that without the measure, Akon would have difficulty repaying an alleged debt. Stevens' lawyer, Jeffrey Movitt, alleged in his affidavit that Akon City and Akon exhibited many of the trademark characteristics of a fraudulent business venture, such as Ponzi schemes and pyramid schemes. Akon City was likely a scam. Akon denied the allegations about Akon City. The following month, he paid $850K to settle part of the ongoing lawsuit. He said the motion to freeze his accounts has been made out of spite. I mean, likely a scam is very generous. It is 100% a scam in every possible version of the word. It is official. That's the only thing they've built at Akon City. It's just a welcome center with his face on it. Well, why can't I... Does anyone ever pay a visit to the welcome center? I want to see it.